Okay, so I thank you all for inviting me, and I'm not sure what the mode of communication is here. Is it all English? Would you like me to be bilingual? I'm happy to uh, transform my method of communication as per your requirements. So, what's the rule here? Can we go bilingual? या फिर सारे लोग यहाँ पे everyone understands English? How does it work?
All right, so this is though a career prep fellowship, and we do encourage fellows to get out of the comfort zone and try to communicate as much in English as possible. But of course, we can keep it bilingual or as per your comfort. So it's totally natural communication as needed. Yeah.
तो आप अंग्रेजी बुलवाएंगे मेरे से आज?
नहीं. You can do what you used to do. We can do it bilingual, and I know you take a lot of pride in speaking Urdu, so we will do that as well.
But let's first follow the norm of Amal Academy and what you're trying to achieve, and then we can take question and answers in Urdu and English both. जिस चीज में भी आप comfortable होंगे, थोड़ी बहुत मैं पश्तो सराइकी भी बोल लेता हूँ, उसमें भी आपके जवाब थोड़े बहुत दे सकूँगा शायद. But Assalamu alaikum formally, everyone, and thank you for inviting me to speak to all of you today. I have been told that it's quite a diverse batch and from every nook and corner of the country, which is always good to know. Amal Academy, as much as I know of its work, I think it's doing reasonably good work. It's setting a benchmark in its own capacity. There isn't much that can be called an alternate to Amal, so I think it's a good effort, and all of the people starting from the top to the people who are the operational team, I congratulate them for achieving this. It's good that efforts like these are being made. You all have done some group projects and worked on some ideas. A practice I also ensure in my classes, regardless of what I am teaching, where group projects are a good way to bring together ideas and put them into motion. My focus with my classes is on the power of reflection, and that is what I will be speaking to you about today. मेरी बात को आप लोगों ने गौर से सुनना है, सारी बाकी विंडोज बंद कर दी, सिर्फ मेरी बात सुने इस वक्त, क्योंकि अगर आपने ये बात समझ ली तो आपका जिंदगी को देखने का लेंस बदल सकता है. And then some of the biggest miracles in life that you could ever aspire would start, it's not just existing, but start happening around you. It's just about looking at life from the right lens. So I'm going to try my best today to give you that lens. Let's get right to the important things, because the first step has been taken by you all already. You have showed up on a Sunday morning. The will to do something is surely present, clearly, or so I hope. But how I wish that was all you needed. It definitely is the most important step. But what comes after this will, and I quote will, is where we all falter. Some of you here are also interested to know about a book I have authored recently, I'm told. The name of the book is You. This book is about you. The ethos of the book, too, is to push people beyond their will. I understood that a person who will pick up a book and read its pages is showing interest in finding out more. It is the author's responsibility to keep them reading, to make sure that they're interested. What we will be exploring in as much depth as possible today can all be found in my book. So if you are too busy watching Netflix while I speak, just go grab my book and then read what I'm telling you here verbally. It is about leadership, it is about effectiveness, and most importantly, self-reflection. Self-reflection gives us clarity about our internal state, because that is where the magic happens. Once your mind is clear, anything you choose to do will happen. The only difference between ordinary and extraordinary is that little extra time spent thinking, that little extra effort in choosing the right words, that little extra effort in making an idea possible. It all starts from here, from the mind. You become who you are here, in your mind. You want to create a company, a business, it first gets made here, in your mind. And then you use the power of marketing, the power of operations, the power of supply chain management, the power of project management to make it happen. But company पहले बन गई होती है यहाँ पे, business पहले बन गया होता है यहाँ पे, and that's what must be understood today. You are what makes you unique. हमारी सबसे बड़ी गलती ये होती है कि हम ये अंडरस्टैंड नहीं करते कि हमारा सबसे बड़ा एक्स फैक्टर हम खुद हैं. हम एक्स फैक्टर ढूंढ रहे होते हैं. मैं अच्छे कपड़े पहन लूंगा, मैं महंगी गाड़ी चला लूंगा, मेरा घर बहुत बड़ा हो जाएगा, मैं औरों से बेहतर हो जाऊंगा, मेरी शक्ल ऐसी हो जाएगी. काश ये चीजें एक्स फैक्टर्स होती. Trust me, this is the biggest delusion someone has sold you. Some silly narrative. Because what you need as an X factor is right inside you. It's in two organs of your body, brain and heart. But how often have you sat down and thought about yourself, is my question. Are you doing and saying things because everyone is doing it or everyone is saying it? Or are you doing it because it's right? Or are you doing it because it aligns with your goals? The result of this extra in one's life is that it takes them towards a life of leadership. Leadership is not a title. It's not a C-level position. It's a state of mind. We have broken down the steps to attain a leadership mind, a mindset. And that's what I'm going to talk about next, which frankly is actually the next step of having the growth mindset that I am told you all have been focusing on, the growth mindset. आप लोग सुनते होंगे तो कितनी बड़ी-बड़ी बातें बता रहे हैं आपके organizers. Growth mindset. It's just fad. All you have to do is realize your own potential, who you are, what you want to do, how you do it. Having faith in yourself. I have called this growth mindset key philosophy goal. I've called this in my book, the fist of a leader. Fist. Fist होता है ना? इसके अंदर hopefully 5 उंगलियां हैं. Fist of a leader. 1 thumb, 4 fingers. मैं उन fist के बारे में बताऊंगा आपको और ये आपकी leadership की summary है. The reason why it is a fist is because the power and control is literally in your own hands. It's literally in your own hands. Anything you want to do, it's all in your hands. आपका दिमाग ने, आपके दिल ने, आपके जिस्म ने बताना है, आपके इस बाजू ने उसको punch करना है. It's going to make it happen. This is that execution force. The fist focuses on 5 main elements that a person can be mindful of and reflect upon to gain better clarity of the mind. So point number 1, will. We start with will, W-I-L-L, will. Where we started this talk from, without the will, there is no point in having this discussion. I cannot force you to change. No one else can push you to do more. The want for it has to come from within. One thing I'd like to clarify is that will should not be mistaken for passion. Passion is that maddening state of mind where you eat, sleep, breathe, and think about an idea. It is more than just a want to do something more. Passion is identified as that end state that you want to achieve no matter what. So if you feel you have the will to do something, but still find time to be distracted, sleep long hours, eat lots of food, and then let me tell you, you've not reached the state of passion yet. Because passion is the biggest hindrance, it's the biggest cover around you towards any direction, any distraction. Sorry. किसी भी distraction को अगर अपनी तरफ रोकना हो, अपने आप के ऊपर passion का लपाता ओढ़ लो. कोई distraction आपको focus को नहीं ला सकती. So this is the first part of the will, of the fist, the will. Second part that I'm going to talk to you about is time. T-I-M-E, time. Speaking of distractions, a leader is first and foremost mindful of their time. There is a no negotiation zone for them. A mindful person will not go window shopping, scroll through their phone for no reason, unnecessarily burden themselves with entertainment that has been given to you from 24 different places, and so on. Social media is a big culprit here because it is a bottomless pit of nonsense. Where you think you spend only 10 minutes browsing through a story or someone's profile or some pictures. What you don't realize is that those 10 minutes slow down your life by maybe more than 10 hours. Our minds are not made of infinite slots. There are finite slots in this brain. There is a finite number of space that has to be utilized wisely within this brain. You can't let junk in. You have to be mindful of what your senses take in your system. When you occupy your mind with information you don't need, the mind slows down because now it has to work extra hard to find the information that is of any use. Hence, those who live in the life of YouTubes and another blessing of the Almighty, TikTok, have slowed responses by the day. You can test it. It's just like carrying a bag, a school bag. Remember, you all gone to school. Sab school gaye ho. Chahe pahadon se aaye ho ya sehraon se aaye ho. Sab school gaye ho. सब बैग पहनते थे. जब किताबें ज्यादा हो जाती थी बैग के अंदर तब तेज भाग सकते थे या जब 4 किताबें पड़ी होती थी बैग के अंदर. The more the baggage in the brain, the less effective you are. Let me come down to the last 3 now of the fist, the last 3 parts. So the next 3 are emotions, reactions, and perceptions. So I said will, time, emotions, reactions, perceptions, fist. Understand? So let me take you to the next 3. I want to explain these 3 together. You can read more about this in detail if you want, but what we consume from the outside world shapes our perceptions and directly impacts our emotions and our reactions. Why is this a big issue? For all of us, including myself. Not just the entrepreneur sitting in front of you, but for us as people. We live in an age of information overload. And I frankly, let me just rephrase myself. I think I just said nonsense there. It's information. Information is something that's useful. I think we just have way too much content. A content could be the most useless thing. Information can be useful. So I think we are in a content overload. हर तरफ से आपको videos, articles, narratives, stories मिल रही हैं. ये सही नहीं है, ये सही है, ये सही नहीं है, ये सही है. इसको follow करो, ये fashion है, ये out of fashion है. Follow, 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 follow. How come there's so much focus on follow when you look at social media? Why do you have to follow? Do you ever realize, why should I follow someone? Is it not demeaning to you to follow someone? There's no harm learning from people. There's no harm being inspired. But follow? Let me tell you, only follow the prophets. No one else. The rest are all flawed. So you don't follow people. You follow the beliefs that your God has given you, and you follow his prophets, and that's it. So be careful of who you follow. Be careful of who you're trying to be. You might be messing up with your life this way. You know, it is painstaking to identify an authentic source before leaving what you see, read, or hear. When the mind gets in the habit of seeing and believing without really cross-checking anything in detail, it loses its ability to think deep. Now, this mind is what I like to call garbage in, garbage out. When the prime function of the brain is hampered, can you expect the brain to be rational, in control of its emotions, in control of its reactions? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Such nice two words. I'm sure you must have heard them before. Now, this mind is just living in that moment, trying to catch. Just trying to catch up with what is happening around it. Ek musibat si pad jati hai. If your mind becomes so receptive to everything available around you, it's going to hamper everything. Your emotions, the narratives you make in your mind of things, your perceptions, and ultimately your reactions. You look like a cartoon, a complete clown, imbalanced, not mature. And you don't want to be that. You must be wondering, why am I saying this to entrepreneurs or people aspiring to know entrepreneurship? Entrepreneurship is just an excuse. It's a name. It's a word. You call yourself someone who wants to change how things work. Someone who wants to change the status quo. Someone who wants to improve things. Someone who does not want to keep floating in the gray, who wants to tell people around him or her, this is black, this is white. Someone who creates perception. You're selling mobile phones. You want to tell that, hey, my mobile phone is the best mobile phone. An entrepreneur will do that. He or she will sell. He'll create a perception in your mind. And that is what an entrepreneur does. Creates things, then he sells them. पर वो क्या क्रिएट करेगा या करेगी या क्या सेल करेगा या करेगी जब दिमाग ही ठीक नहीं है, वक्त का इस्तेमाल ठीक नहीं है, अपने सेंटिमेंट्स, इमोशंस, रिएक्शंस कंट्रोल में नहीं है, हर चौथी चीज को देख के मान लेते हैं कि सच होगा. आप क्या परसेप्शन बनाएंगे? आप तो लोगों की परसेप्शंस के दबे बैठे. That is why what I'm saying today, this twist of a leader is essential. It's the backbone of an entrepreneur. You know, our minds are bound to make mistakes. Sometimes even say things it doesn't mean, do things it does not intend to, and keep going in this vicious circle of what I'll call negativity. A mind prone to perceptions is a weak mind, my friends. It's a weak mind. If you will take perceptions from people, सारा time advertising agency का काम ही होता है कि आपको उन्होंने कोई narrative बेचनी है, कोई perception बेचनी है. मत माने, उसे critically break down कीजिए. अगर आप क्रिटिकली ब्रेक डाउन नहीं करेंगे, आपको कोई भी गधा कोई भी चीज बेच देगा, आप किसी भी गलत सलत इंसान के पीछे लग जाएंगे, आप अपनी जिंदगी का तर्ज खराब कर लेंगे। और जिंदगी एक ही बार मिलनी है, उसको मीनिंगफुली गुजारिए, उसको छोटी छोटी ग्लिट्स एंड ग्लैमर्स के पीछे पड़ के ना गुजारिए। बड़े बड़े ग्लैमरस लोग 6 फुट नीचे पड़े हुए हैं और उनको साल में एक बार याद किया जाता है, और वो समझते थे कि दुनिया उनके बगैर नहीं चल सकती। दे आर द मोस्ट नोन, दे आर द रिचेस्ट। हाउ मेनी रिच पीपल एवर गेट रिमेम्बर्ड? कब्रिस्तान भरे में। But those who changed lives, those who did better for the society, will be remembered forever. So the life you want to choose, it starts today. It should start right after I stop speaking. I have spent years and years and years thinking about what my life should be like. I am clearly much older than you are, and I still haven't figured it out fully. But a lot, alhamdulillah, I've figured out. So people who have weak minds are often seen, you'll see it, as very temperamental, speak a lot before they think, what bolte hain, have a relatively big ego, and they're very irritable. You can tell. Thoda sa touch karo to irritate ho jate hain. Ask yourself, would you expect such a mind to take risks? Would you expect such a mind to think big or dream or be entrepreneurial? Absolutely not. The biggest edge an entrepreneurial mind has over others that it thinks big, thinks very big. Entrepreneur का तो जिंदगी का रोज का मरला है ये कि उसको तनकीद मिलेगी. You will be swamped with criticism because you're creating something new. 10 people out of 20 would say it can't happen. 5 people would say, हो भी गया तो क्या फर्क पड़ता है. 4 would say, I don't want this to happen. And 1 would say, yes, I wish this happens. Get hold of that one person who believes in your ideas. That's your founder. That's your team member. If you're wondering how you regain your ability to think and break out of perceptions that have been misguiding you for years, the answer is just one. Reflect. अपने आप को देखें, अपनी beliefs को break down करें, और अपनी beliefs के पीछे why जो है, क्यों मेरा belief कुछ है, क्यों मुझे लगता है क्या ठीक है क्या गलत है, उस क्यों का जवाब निकालिए. You know, the book that I wrote, I've broken it down into 3 sections. And that's what I want you to learn today. First section is reflect. Second section is focus. The third section is execute. And this is the mantra that any successful individual, whether entrepreneur, whether politician, whether social worker, whether a brilliant citizen, has followed in life. Reflect, focus, execute. These 3 stages together form that infinite loop of improvement through which you can be the best version of yourself. One thing I can guarantee is that every recommendation, analysis, advice written in the book has been tried and tested. Trust me, it is a practical manual of life. It might appear that I'm trying to sell my book here, which is a bit narcissist, but I'm sorry about that. But I think the book, it's kind of a guiding light for me, because I'm going to give you this idea of what you believe in, put it on paper, but लिखो. और जब अपने ही अल्फाज को पढ़ोगे तो उसमें इतनी गलतियां, इतनी नॉनसेंसेस और इतनी wisdom nazar aayegi. You would want to improve it further. That's also a great way to reflect. Write what you believe in. Let your eyes see it. Let your brain process it. Read what you've written. Let your ears hear it. Let your brain process it. Cleansing शुरू हो गई है उन डब्बों की दिमाग के जो मैं कह रहा था finite boxes हैं. Reflection, simply put, is going in every part of your life and questioning the source of your choices and your decisions. Start from the very basic. Why do you dress up the way you do? Why do you speak the way you do? Extrapolate it. Mathematics की term है extrapolation is extrapolated to every part of your present self, and you will start seeing a pattern around you. एक trend नजर आएगा आपको अपने बारे में. Question these choices then that you think are yours. अब मैं आपको बताऊं पता चलेगा कि बहुत सी choices, बहुत सी decisions आपकी ऐसी थी जो external factors की वजह से हुई, तो आपने कभी ली नहीं थी. Build your own value system. Most of us have no answer when asked what your values are. I have hired over 2,000 to 3,000 people in my life now, maybe more. And this one question gets answered very badly about 99% of the times. Either some idiotic bookish answer or no answer. Do you have a set of values you govern your life with today? I did. I take pride in it. Some of them may have been unpolished values, but I polished them over the years. I had a set of values even when I was 16. My friends, my circles, my family can vouch for that. It is not a difficult thing to do, but it takes thought. सोच का इस्तेमाल. सोच पे फिल्टर लगाना पड़ता है. वो वाला फिल्टर नहीं जो आप अपनी तस्वीरों पे लगा के अपने आप को हसीन और जमील बनाने की इल्यूजन में डाल देते हैं. आप हसीन नहीं लग रहे होते जब फिल्टर लगा होता है. मेरा यकीन कर लें. वो फिल्टर जो कि स्कैन करे कि दिमाग में इंफॉर्मेशन कौन सी जा रही है. Simply put, what you stand for and what you stand against. That's your values. If you're indifferent, good luck. I have never found indifferent people doing anything meaningful for others. Yes, I have found indifferent people doing a lot of things for themselves. Because indifferent is selfish. Indifferent is very unkind. The end goal of our lives should be to create and leave a lasting impact. The only success that matters is the one you will get in the hereafter. But for that, we need to spend every minute of our life on this earth working towards creating something that benefits the people around us, that benefits society as a whole. Since I am speaking to a group of entrepreneurs, so I hope, and those who will be entering the job market soon, I will talk about the recent most investment that was brought in a company called Airlift. I have seen their journey up close. I mean, there isn't an entrepreneur in this country who wouldn't know me, and the other way around. They started off as a transportation service, and during COVID, they pivoted their entire business model to grocery deliveries. I did not understand what they did there, but well, anyway. If they do not have the ability to adapt fast and deal with failure in a strong, clear, focused, healthy way, would they have today secured an investment worth US 85 million US dollars? ये 13 अरब रुपए बनते हैं. 13 अरब रुपए. बड़ी corporations, बड़ी MNCs ये नहीं कमा सकते. So अगर पैसा आपका benchmark है, तो here's an example of what entrepreneurs can do. The investment in time, investment in itself is a contribution to Pakistan's brand. Pakistan की branding हो गई है. दुनिया बात करेगी. Venture capital funds बात करेंगे. In their capacities, they've created some impact. The investors did not put in their money because of their business model idea. I'm sure you know also that there are many countless food and delivery services and transportation services in this country. It is not about what is being invested in. It is about who is being invested in. It's the people. The co-founder, one of the co-founders, was someone I hired back in 2014 in one of my teams at the IT board. When I was building Plan X, she spent about a year with me, Meher. She's a very key player now in that game, actually number 2 to the founder. Also happens to be a co-founder, a young girl, back then in the early 20s, recently graduated from LUMS and joined me in 2014. Spent about a year with me. As an investor, a teacher, an entrepreneur, I will not invest in a mind that is not free from perceptions. So अगर आप मुझसे दोस्ती करना चाहते हैं, अगर आप मेरी टीम्स का हिस्सा बनना चाहते हैं जो कई 100 में है, आप मुझे इम्प्रेस नहीं कर सकते अगर आप perceptions driven हैं, अगर आप fake हैं. I will not spend time on growing and mentoring a mind of an entrepreneur, whoever it is, whose mind is not free from perceptions and narratives. If today you have arrived at an impressive idea or wish to do your own startup in the future, spend time with yourself today, when you don't stand for anything, you will fall for everything. How will I trust you? How will I bank my money on you? How will I bank my faith in you? तुम तो वो वाला rolling ball हो, कहीं भी roll कर जाओगे. You don't stand for anything. And you only stand for things if your mind is clear about who you are, what drives you, what are your values, what is the definition of right in your mind, what is the definition of wrong in your mind. Clarity. Clarity. You are as strong as your weakest trait. Break down who you are and know what your weaknesses are so you can truly build your strength. We are privileged. We're privileged. Today, you and I sit in a free country and have the means to educate ourselves. We can eat, we can sleep, we have the liberty to have that extra time to do things. Pakistan is a beautiful country. And building it and rebuilding it and building it and rebuilding it and building it and rebuilding it is only and called our responsibility, it's no one else's. To do that, we have to actively reject the false narratives that are fed to us on a daily basis to weaken our perceptions about our own identity, to dislike our own country. If I start talking about the biggest superpowers in the world, I don't want to demean anyone right now. But look at the level of corruption there. Look at the level of harassment there. Look at the level of knife crimes there. Don't get me started. Don't get me started. Oh, so I forgot shootings. We are way better. Yes, there's a lot to be improved. But you need to love your country. An entrepreneur coming out of Pakistan does not love Pakistan, is not an entrepreneur to me. We are already born with an identity called Pakistan. The base, the stepping stone, the foundation has been laid for us. Then is it really befitting that we let ourselves be sidetracked and distracted by the excessive and useless noise around us that we have the power to stop? Thinking about the above should increase you in something that is your biggest superpower, your empathy. अपनी empathy को nurture किया करो, अपने एहसास को nurture किया करो. एहसास करोगे ना तो indifference हो जाएगा. Indifference is not cool. It's very uncool. It's a sign of a weak human being. After reflection, our biggest asset is our ability to empathize. And an indifferent person does not care. How can he or she empathize? We've heard indifference packaged as, oh, such a nice person who's so indifferent, and somewhere in the middle, somewhere in the middle, and that's impressive. Not to me. This is what makes us human. Ehsas. This is what gives us the ability to feel the pain around us and then work to find solutions for it. An entrepreneurial mindset is essentially an empathetic mindset that keeps finding ways to improve the quality of life of people around them. Education, health, sanitation, safety. Our issues are multifold, but that only means more opportunity for growth and impact. I always say hope is a good thing. I said it in 2014 to those who were there. I'll say it again today. Hope is a good thing. And right now, I am looking at faces that are the hope. But hope has to be sharp and focused and intelligent. Otherwise, it's as ordinary as some delusional daydreaming. Hope is a good thing. It's a very powerful statement. Don't let it rust. Practice it every day to the core. You can be a better version of yourself every day. Think every day of who you are, what you can do, and what you are doing in the present to contribute to your society, to contribute to your country. Start from analyzing your thoughts, your words, and your actions. Starts from you. If you have control over your thoughts, you have control over your choices, and your choices will shape how your life will appear. Your choices and your decisions will shape you. Become the best version of yourself. Thank you very much. I hope this was useful. And now take questions, if any.
All right, that was quite inspirational. And while we are on the topic of reflection, I'm sure the fellows will get a chance to reflect on this entire talk even beyond the time, and will continue to do so. That's the only way for us to learn. I would like to ask questions, and in the interest of the time, you guys can raise your hands, and we can go one by one.
Would you like to verbally ask me, or would you like to write the questions?
Right. We have Muzammil. Muzammil, you can unmute yourself and we can hear it from you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, and dear sir. First of all, तो उर्दू में भी बात करने बैलेंगे तो बात करने मैं बहुत ज़्यादा inspired हो चुका हूँ और there are a lot of questions in my mind regarding entrepreneurship, but I'm grateful to you. You are here with us to guide us, counsel us very much. और the question यहाँ पे दो किस्म के question है मेरे पास. I'm a visually impaired, or there are a lot of problems in society regarding the people have some kind of deficiencies. So we have to compete ourselves, our family, and society. But what about the failure? How we can overcome the failure? This is the first question and first point of my conversation. The other one is, how can we move on with less amount of money to run any business or be an entrepreneur? Thank you so much.
Okay, so number one, you don't need money. That is the biggest delusion someone has sold you. I talked about delusions, right? You don't need money. Money is the last thing you require once everything is in place. You don't need money for proof of your concept. जो आपने concept prove करना है, उसके लिए पैसे नहीं चाहिए. और एक बार आपने conceptually कुछ prove कर दिया, पैसे बारिश की तरह गिरते हैं. और मेरे भाई, इन्वेस्टर आपके पीछे भागता है, आप इन्वेस्टर के पीछे नहीं भागोगे. उसको आपकी जरूरत है. उसने अपने 10 रुपए आपको दे के 500 बनाने हैं. आपको जरूरत नहीं है उसकी. Again, this is that power structure change that is required, and we have to do something about it. हमें इस बात को यकीन रखना होता है कि there is a method to doing things. You have to make yourself investable. आपकी पर्सनालिटी में इतने ट्रेड्स होने चाहिए ऐसे जो आपको इन्वेस्टेबल करें, जो एक वेंचर कैपिटल के सामने या एंजल इन्वेस्टर के सामने जब आप बैठे हो, तो योर पर्सनालिटी शुड अपीयर सच that there should be this element of belief that he or she gets in your ideas and what you are saying, looking at you, talking to you. आपका सेल्फ कॉन्फिडेंस उसको इस बात का अक्कासी करे कि हाँ यार, मैं इसको, ये अगर लाख मांग रहा है लाख दूंगा, करोड़ रुपया मांग रहा है करोड़ दूंगा, 5 करोड़ मांग रहा है 5 करोड़ दूंगा, बिकॉज मुझे पता है ये मेरे 5 करोड़ को 50 करोड़ बना सकता है. But if you haven't worked through your idea, if you don't have a good strong plan, if you're not clear about how you will market it, if you're not clear about who your co-founders are going to be, how do you expect people to give you money for as an investment or whatever? Point is, अगर आप पैसे के लिए करने जा रहे हो ये सब कुछ, तो ये गलत motivation है. आपका passion for the change you are bringing will define how much money you will raise. तो ये समझना कि मेरे पास पैसे कम है तो मैं चीजों को बदल नहीं सकता या मैं एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप में नहीं आ सकता, ये बहुत बड़ी गलतफहमी है. हाँ, एक सर्टेन स्टेज के बाद मुजम्मिल, I 100% agree with you, money is the only fuel forward. I understand that. That is reality. But please, at your age and your stage, you should not be thinking about that. Otherwise, it will stop you from doing something extraordinary. So that's the second part of the answer. The first part, when you say failure, Muzammil beta, you have not seen failure yet. You've not seen it yet. Don't get worried by failure. This is again a fad. I've created 10 things. I have lost 200 things. I've had some extraordinary wins. But if I talk about my losses, तो मुजम्मिल तुम और मैं तो बैठ के मातम करना शुरू कर देंगे काले का हमद अफसोस में, जितने मेरे लॉसेस हैं, जितना मैंने नुकसान किया अपना. So you don't have to worry about those losses as long as those losses are teaching you for a big win. 20 losses, one win pays for them. Believe you me, I have a lifestyle, I have companies, I have everything I ever could have wanted. And it has all come packaged in lots of failures. अगर failures ना होते तो मैं यहाँ कहाँ जाता आज. मतलब मुझे जितनी comfort है चीज़ों की, अल्लाह की रहमत है, तो of course उसके बगैर तो कुछ नहीं हो सकता. और दूसरा, जो मेरी गलतियां थी उनसे मैं सीखता गया. तो इतना ज्यादा फेलियर की अंग्रेजी बोलने का फायदा नहीं है. छोड़े गोली मारे फेलियर को, आप अपना ख्याल रखें बस. यू डू व्हाट यू बिलीव इन. एक बार गिरोगे, दूसरी बार गिरोगे, तीसरी बार गिरोगे. रिमेंबर द पावर ऑफ परसिस्टेंस. The power of persistence. I know a lot of you may not be a fan of your prime minister. I am. He's my mentor. Mr. हुदा ने कहा ना कि मैं इनका मेंटोर हूँ शायद. तो प्राइम मिनिस्टर मेरे मेंटोर हैं. मैंने उनको देखा है बहुत सालों में बनते हुए, और उनसे बात करने के बहुत मौके मिले, especially when he was failing. And खुदा की कसम, I would look at that man, I'd be like, यार इसके तो दिमाग पे परेशानी कोई नहीं है कि ये, मतलब मैं वो लफ्ज नहीं बोल सकता एक पब्लिक सेटिंग में, ये इतना खुआर हो रहा है इस वक्त. Because what he would say is, जब मैं प्राइम मिनिस्टर बन जाऊंगा तो फिर मैं ये, ओ भाई अभी तो आपको 4 सीटें नहीं मिल रही. Because that's what a winning mindset is. You don't get bogged down by what people say or think. You just worry about what you want to achieve. So failure is like marijuana or cocaine. Don't take it. It's useless. Ignore it. Just worry about your win, the win you want to have. 10 failures will give you 1 win. It's part of the process. Don't run away from it. कोविड की वैक्सीन नहीं लगवाओगे ना तो कोविड ज्यादा बुरी तरह होगा। फेलियर वो वैक्सीन है, लगवा लो कोई बात नहीं, थोड़ी देर बाजू दर्द करता है, खैर करवा लो। इसको इस तरह समझा करो। So I hope that answers the question. जी, anyone else?
Let's take the next question from Norina Nassim.
Thank you so much, sir. Your speech and your lecture, it was quite inspirational, and we need mentors like you. So you talked about emotions, perceptions, and reactions. I think these things are very important, like if you want to succeed in any venture of life. So I would like to have your suggestions, like how can we improve in those areas? Like we are students and we will be, inshallah, an entrepreneur, or like we will be professional, inshallah. So I would like to have your suggestions how to work on those areas of emotions, perception, like in one word, I would say emotional intelligence.
नरीना, इतनी बड़ी बड़ी बातें आप कर रही हैं, इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस, EQ, वेरी नाइस, वेरी इंप्रेसिव। मैं इसको आसान ज़बान में बताता हूँ आपको, and because आप एक खातून and I'm sure there will be women here, so let me try and answer something, because I know you've not packaged your question gender wise, but I want to answer gender wise. Any country's backbone, किसी मुल्क की भी रीढ़ की हड्डी औरत है। Women define how much a country can do well. The extent of how well a country can do will be defined by how strong the women are. So remember that as rule number one. So the women around in this room must know you are what matters. Because you have been made by the Almighty with qualities that are not present in the other gender. You have come packaged with the power, the superpower of shame, the superpower of empathy, the superpower to multitask, the superpower to give life to a child and nurture him or her into a change maker for the nation. You have the superpower. So when you talk about emotional intelligence, oh, you are supposed to be, you're expected to be highly emotionally intelligent. That's an expectation of women, which unfortunately, thanks to the Hum TV dramas and the rhetoric, have given you a completely different perception of who you're supposed to be. You're not supposed to be the ones crying. You're supposed to be the ones healing, not just the country, but the world. And that is not possible without emotional intelligence, because emotional intelligence is that power that helps you understand a situation from both angles, intelligence and emotions. And that's the best mix, rationality and emotions. So when you ask me that question as a woman, the first thing I'd say is, that's not even a good question, because you already have what you asked. Someone like me, I can't even help you here. All you have to do is look in the mirror. Believe in yourself, believe in the dreams you have, and do not let anyone ever make you compromise on them. Once you're done achieving what you want to achieve for the society, they'll all follow you, even the ones who criticized you. So you don't have to worry about those things. As I said, take that pain of failure and rejection. It's fine. Because that's only going to make you stronger. So this is my quick advice. One last question that I have to head out. One last question, please.
Sure. We can take a question from Ali Heather.
Really.
So I'm really a big fan of your show, Idea Prologa. So my question is, when are the next season and the batch going to come out? And the other question is, I know I want to add up to Muzamil's question. I know we should not be feared of failure and be persistent all the time. But sometimes there are failures which happen, and when they happen, there are people who are waiting for them to happen. And those are the people really, unfortunately, those are people very close to us. And they say at the end, see, we told you this would happen. I want you to share a specific tip that you can give us that week, how to deal with such kind of people.
Ignore them. Ignore them. They don't exist. Be in a halo. Who could be more relevant and close to you than your own father, right? Almost every decision I took, my father said to me, it's not going to work. Every decision, every success, every failure, even when he was right, I ignored him. Even when he was wrong, I ignored him, because it was never about him. It was about me. Did I want to remain a baby all my life? Budhape maybe? Or did I want to become an adult early? So I chose to become an adult early. I took everyone's opinion. I did not let it change my track until and unless I felt convinced. And how did I measure that? I measured it, Ali, through analyzing जो मैं करने जा रहा हूँ उससे मेरे इर्द गिर्द के लोगों का, मेरे मोहल्ले का, मेरी सोसाइटी का, मेरे मुल्क का नुकसान होगा या फायदा होगा. When I was a young, smart boy like you, Ali, I was offered a lot of interesting roles on TV. मैंने कहा यार तुम तो हीरो टाइप इंसान हो, तुम्हें तो फिल्म देनी चाहिए. अब सोचें अगर मैं फिल्मों में आ रहा होता तो खुदा मुझे बुलाती आज यहाँ पे, और अगर बुलाती तो बड़ी गलत बात होती. ऐसे कार्टून्स को कौन बुलाता है? It's a choice. But I chose to take TV, जो आपने शो देखा है मेरा, to sell something completely different, something I believed no one else did. My production team didn't even believe in it. I only found one believer in the owner of the channel, and together we were able to make it happen. So you just need one believer, and then you get to things. Do not worry about the people who don't believe, they'll follow. Remember, the crowd always follows. The crowd is free to say, ye acha nahi hai, ye acha hai, ye bura nahi hai, ye bura hai. Who cares about the crowd? You do what you believe in, and you make sure that those people who were criticizing you, you respect them. You always respect them. You never try and say, देखा, मैंने तुम्हें कहा था मैं कर लूंगा. Every time you win, Ali, keep your head down. Keep your head down and walk past them. And just say one thing to your Lord: thank you.